Double RT Boxing Show. I'm your host, Mr.A. We're doing our full fight card review. Top rank, May 4th, Stockton, California. Uh, Good crowd. Like again, for those who just joined in, it's a 10-point system. 4 categories: the fights on paper, the turnout of the fights themselves, the commentary, and the crowd reaction. For little fun tips, we throw in camera work and all that stuff into probably the crowd reaction, that category. Now, as far as the fights on paper, German Akasa versus Funi. No one knew who the hell Funi was, but the purpose of the Double RT Boxing Show is talking the best versus the best, and our lingo is number 1 through 15. So even though we don't know who the hell he is, he was number 1. Did he deserve to be number 1? We don't know, but German Akaha beat the shit out of a number 1. So on paper, it was a good fight. You had a champion fighting a number 1. It's like I said, people are gonna be shitting on Tyson Fury and Tom Schwartz, but hey, I gotta treat that fight the same. That's a number 2 guy he's fighting. So is it the same caliber fighter? No, we know it's not, but we gotta do it. Now, Kaha's needed a victory like that. He has not looked the same. That jab of his wasn't gone. He just didn't look dominant in his last couple fights, but this fight he came out dominant. Hooks, body shots, jabs, combinations. Now, was it the aggression of his opponent, the lack of defense of his opponent? Most likely. The opponent made Akaha look like a fucking his Australian self in that Horn Pacquiao fight. So on paper, it was I gave it it was a good fight. Good fight. Champion versus number 1. Flores versus wasn't how you pronounce it? Heis. Shit fight. It was what it was. It was a hometown prospect fighting a Brazilian fighter, and making this show about a year and a half ago, creating this show. I'm not a fucking walking boxing encyclopedia. I'm a boxing junkie just like you. This is the Boxing Rehab, the Double RT Boxing Show. In the time of a year and a half of creating the show and doing research, I came to, really get a grasp on if you need fights for your prospect and you want them to look good, you go to Nicaragua, you go to Brazil, and you go to Colombia and Venezuela. You go to those 4 countries and you get these blown up records because they do good on their domestic level, and that's what that fight was. So, shit fight to me. Brazil. Then you had Better Beev. Is it Better Beev or Better Biev? You had him fighting Kalechki, Hot Rod. I thought that fight on paper was pretty good. I was it's probably one of the fight I wanted to see. Not the fight, but there's 3 fights over the weekend I wanted to see. And shockingly, number 1 was not Canelo Jacobs. Number 1 was actually, believe it or not, was John Ryder and Akawa. Even though if it would have been Lemieux, it would have still been number 1 because I like John Ryder. I like him. Now, Hot Rod and Better Be, I thought was a good fight on paper. Hot Rod is a Kung Fu fighter, power puncher, linky, moves around the ring. I like his style. So the fights on paper, I thought you had a champion versus number 1. You had a champion versus number, I think it was 9 or 13, but with a well-known reaction to the fans. So, but the Stockton hometown prospect build-up, I thought it was just a shit fight. Like I said, I just knew what was going to happen when I saw the dude was from Brazil. So I gave the fights a 7. And now, in actuality, how did the fights turn out category? Jerwin beat the shit out of him, looked good, action-packed. Not too much on the end of Funani. I can't pronounce his name. The Japanese fighter. ended in a knockout stoppage. The hometown hero, devastating left hook to the devastating left hook, dropped him. And Better Be that fight. Better Be put on that action. You know, he looked a little sloppy here and there. I think just being a little too aggressive. I think he knew that's what he had to do, so he couldn't allow Hot Rod to dictate his range. So once around round 3 or 4, once he had Hot Rod set, and that when Hot Rod said, "Fuck, I can't box this dude. I gotta just fight." The crowd, you know. So the fights turned out better than what they were on paper. They're entertaining. They were entertaining fights. So they went from a 7 to a 9. So we're sitting on 16 points here. Now the crowd reaction, the crowd was fucking pumped. They loved every second of it. They were happy with the action in Akaha's fight. You know, when Akasa started turning up, the crowd got involved in it, screaming. It's definitely for the hometown hero. They fucking went bananas. And then for the Better Beef, and when they start going at it, because they knew Better Beef was whooping his ass. And also the fact that Hot Rod was like, fuck it. You know, with the doctor checking on him, getting ready to stop it. And, you know, they're boom, boom, boom. You know, that's part of the crowd anticipation. That's good, too, you know. So they're showing their love for the action that the fighters are putting on. They're showing the love for the doctor saying you're an asshole, don't stop the fight. All things fight fans, you know, part of the atmosphere. But then the way they got into it, when they're like, oh shit, Hot Rod, like, you know what? Doctor's about to stop this fight. This motherfucker's going to go out on his shield. They stood up out of their seats and they started screaming and clapping for the effort that Hot Rod was putting forth. Because they knew this motherfucker was about to get knocked out or get stopped by the referee. So they're like, you know what? This motherfucker is going. Because his legs was wobbling. He wasn't who he wasn't the fighter in round 1. He was about to get knocked the fuck out. The crowd knew it. So the crowd participation, I give a 10. You know, I give a 10. They did for the fights. So we're sitting on 26. Now the commentary. ESPN commentary is always pretty much on point. It's good. Between them and DAZN, I like their commentary. To me, PPC's come in last place. I give it a 9. I give it a 9. You know, it could have been something here, but it was always on point. So out of 26, we're looking at 35 points for that top ranked card. We're looking at it when I first looked at it, I did not think it was going to be that type of card, a 35. It's 35 out of 40. I believe the highest one was a 37. That was the last Matchroom card, if I'm not too sure. But 35 out of 40 points for May 4th top rank in Stockton, California. Thank you for your time and support.